Hey, how you doing? It's Reg from Aver Reg Guy. Basically, what we're going to do today is do a flight to Mars, land on the planet, and then we're going to make our way back to Earth. And so this is a whole lot more than a probe. A probe is really simple. You can just get something there and just leave it. And you can finish with close to no fuel and everything's fine. With this one, we've got to bring the rocket with us. That's going to bring us back to Earth. So we got to get in there. We got to land without burning up. We've got to take off again and then come back. This will probably be done as a two-parter. Probably the first part will be to get there, second part to come back. So I've been working. I've built up a rocket. It's a little bit different than my previous ones. So let me go back to continue build here. This is the rocket that we're going to use to do this. Now this one, I did use some of the, well, a lot of the components from the expansion. Just for the fact that I needed some, I'm not using cheats, so I'm not stacking engines and all that sort of stuff. So I needed to actually build it with available components. And I do have the colors and all that. I could have colored this thing all up, but I figured I would just go with the basic white. So what I've got, if we take a look at this, is I've got 5 of the really large engines. And these ones are referred to as the Titan engines. So 5 Titans, they weigh 12 tons each, but they have a thrust of 400 tons, efficiency of 240. Don't care too much about the efficiency, but if you look at the very bottom, it says total mass of my rocket, the total thrust of my rocket. So thrust divided by the mass gives you your thrust to weight ratio. Okay, that's where I was saying 1.4 is okay. A 1.5 will give us a good launch. And it's not something that I'll be going, come on, hoping that it gets into space. I used the special bottom for the center rocket there. So it's got the ability of having 3 engines across. And then I've added in a couple of boosters just to give us the extra to get there. The boosters do have the explosive connectors here. So when I'm done with them, I will eject them. They actually last a little bit longer than my main body does there. So for a little bit of the trip, I'll be dragging that extra weight with me until I get to the point where I can separate off to this top half here. And I've got 3 engines of the Frontier engines in this one. And it's a large diameter rocket here. At the top of this, I've got my return rocket. So it's going to land with the 2 big engines on the side. And that middle one by itself is sufficient to leave Mars and get back to Earth. That lets you know how much different gravity is and everything on Earth than it is in Mars. Because that's a significantly smaller rocket and it'll make the trip no problem at all. We do have the capsule on top, so once we get back to Earth, we will jettison the rocket and come back in on the capsule itself. I have connectors right here that I will set to release, and then I will take over on these thrusters to get down to the surface of Mars. And because I got no heat shields, so I'm just going to turn my back into the direction we're going and just hit the thrusters and try to slow myself down enough to land. I will land just on the rockets themselves, on the engines, and these little support structure here. And then when I go to take off, I'll jettison the 2 side rockets, and I'll have the legs here that I could use to land on if I wanted to as well. So I could put those down, but I found last time what I did was before I jettisoned the side ones is I dropped the legs and then jettisoned the sides before I head back up. Now, if there's still a lot of fuel in those side ones, I might use them to help me get back up, but we'll see. We'll see what the availability is. So let's get going. If we go launch, I'll take the fuel right up, bottom engines and light. Like I say, it took a little bit of experimentation to find the build that I wanted for this. I had larger boosters on the side, smaller center, but it just didn't have exactly what I was looking for, so I've tweaked it a bit to get to this design. One thing I will be watching is to make sure I get into orbit fairly good here, so that I can get up to speed before it starts coming in. A few of my earlier designs that I worked on did not have enough thrust to get the payload, the side rockets and that middle rocket and the capsule, up into orbit. So I would get up there and then just follow the arc right back down again. So it took a little bit of experimentation. You can see we're getting some heating going on, but nothing, as you can see there, to worry about. Okay, so start to angle it out more to get more speed going. And like I say, there's the main 3 are down. So now we're just using those boosters to get us up. So the overall trajectory will get us into orbit. And we're just about to the point where we're going to break through. There we go. Okay. Disconnect the sides, disconnect the lower, and fire up the engines, and it destroys that top one, but that's okay. So I'm starting the thrust far enough back just to make sure we get a good stretch to orbit here. There we go, we'll be fine. One of my lower satellites whipping past us there. Okay. Come on, orbit. It's getting there. And again, this is a 1.5 initial thrust to get up, so 1.54. There it goes. So as soon as we get orbit, there we go. Let's find Mars. There it is. Navigate to, run around to get to where my transfer window is. There we go. Like I said, I never want to run past it, so I always get up close and then immediately stop my acceleration here, the time travel here, as soon as I get up to, there it is. So put swinger down, go to where it is here. Okay, we're almost there. You can see I'm just get into space. I'm not worried about how high I am at this point in it. It's a heavy rocket. It takes a bit to turn it around. But at the same time, it takes a bit for it to stop turning too. Whoa. Okay. Off we go. So there's our escape trajectory going there. Yeah, so I'm going 3 times speed here just to stretch that out a little bit faster for us. Times 2 times 1. And same thing as normal, we're just stretching this out until that dotted line just disappears. There it goes. Go to Mars. It's the same process every time we do these. So where is Mars? There's Mars. And there's the approach vector coming in. Yep, went a little bit too far. So what I'm going to do is just turn on these thrusters here. And you can see they can push it pretty good. There we go. Turn off the thrusters. Oops. Just ignore that thing. You know what? I better not do that. Tuck it back in. Okay. Let's go. Fast forward. And we pass time. So same as before, we're going to get in fairly close, and then we're going to hit the reverse to back her up so that we can get an orbit around Mars. There we go. I'm going to start somewhere about here. Make sure we're still pointed in the right direction. And give her. I don't want to start too soon because I want to make sure that I get the orbit bent before I get past it. And as soon as it starts to bend enough, then I can continue on. Okay, so I'm going to continue to the low point. Again, all I need this rocket to do for me now is just slow me down. Because it's not going to carry me back. Not this big one. There it comes. So let it come in on the other side now. And we're going to dip around to that side. It's always better to do this as a way to land rather than dropping in too fast. Because if you drop in too fast, what can happen is you can't slow down soon enough. And then you become one with the surface of Mars. And that's not always a good thing. Okay, you can see we've got a good amount of fuel there left. A little bit closer to my point here. Okay. Captured into low orbit. Okay, let's take it in. So really what I'm trying to do now is just slow down a bit. There we go. So that one is out of fuel. So let's stage. There we go. And I set that up so that it stages like firing those rockets right away. So then it slows us down from the one that was carrying us here. Okay, so let's there we go. We are getting close. Yeah, it's way over there, so we're good. I did that before too. I'm not sure why it does that. Let's quickly turn around though, because we're going to get way too much speed going. Stop turning. Stop turning. Let's get some thrust. That'll help us. Yeah, you can see these are some pretty powerful engines. So my temperatures should start to come down pretty quick here. Yeah, there it goes. So that slowed us down quite a bit. Let's find out where we are. There we are. There's the other rocket going in. Just let it drop for a bit here. Not too far, but just enough so I'm not continuously running the thruster. Just slowing her down a bit. Okay, so we have successfully landed. Just making sure our fuel is maxed out on that middle one, because he's the one we're going to need for the most part. Now, I think I've got enough fuel to get a good liftoff started, and then I'll switch to the middle one. So, got to Mars. I'm going to stop at this point and fire up another one. So, if you like it so far, please, this one over here, and right there, there's our rocket. So, subscribe over here. Give it a thumbs up if you appreciate this. I'm spending a fair amount of time trying to get a bunch of these out right away here, and then I'll probably get to the point where I start doing 1 or 2 a week. But I wanted to get a selection for everybody to watch. So again, please do hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and next one will be coming back to Earth. So, because these guys don't just spend 2 minutes, they got to go and do some work. So, and next one, coming back to Earth. See you guys.